Ladies and gentlemen, the walls are closing in on a certain company that was very, very important to James Comey and Robert Mueller and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and all the whole mishpacha, the entire wonderful crew of fantastic, amazing individuals who basically worked to undermine and oust President Trump, a duly elected president. Clapper, Brennan, James Baker, Samantha Power, everyone. Look, the interesting thing is that we all know what happened. There are two realities in the United States of America at this point. One is that they tried and failed to oust a duly elected president. The other is everything was above board. Mueller didn't know who Fusion GPS or Glenn Simpson were. James Comey has stated he didn't know that Fusion GPS was outsourced by Hillary Clinton. Nobody apparently cares or knows that Fusion GPS, the wife of the number 4 official at the Justice Department, was working there and funneling information to her husband, Bruce Orr, and then he was relaying, he was a back channel information to the Justice Department or to the FBI, and then James Comey and Andrew McCabe were signing warrants to surveil Carter Page to begin an overall effort to investigate the incoming Trump administration based on a dossier compiled by Fusion GPS. Interestingly enough, Glenn Simpson met before and after with Natalia Veselnitskaya. Interestingly enough, Glenn Simpson was hired by Clinton's law firm. His company, Fusion GPS, is now in the news every single day because the Republicans are going after that company and that individual. Congressman Devin Nunes not only filed a case against this man and the company for about $10 million. But Mark Meadows not long ago said about a couple people within the company face criminal charges, will eventually face criminal charges. The whole thing, what they were trying to say with President Trump and his administration, well, you know, if they're going to flip and sing, and this person, if you squeeze just a little tight, they'll flip and sing, and then there was never any evidence of any work with Russia. The entire notion is absurd. Now, they had a special counsel, and when you hear people, well, you know, he obstructed justice. No, he didn't. The beginning of the special counsel, Rod Rosenstein, gave William Barr virtually carte blanche on Robert Mueller virtually carte blanche on everything. Like everything. He could have done anything he wanted. He could have indicted anything he wanted. He didn't have to abide by a Justice Department memo. This was a memo that was, it was after the Clinton debacle with the Oval Office and Monica Lewinsky. And then there was a Bush administration memo. These are guidelines. These are not laws. There is no law that says you can't indict a sitting president if he committed an actual offense and crime. And then they say, well, he could be indicted when he leaves office. By the time he leaves office, if everyone involved in this isn't either indicted or completely has a spotlight shined upon them regarding all their unethical and criminal activity, that's an existential threat on this country. This country faces an existential threat. You cannot have an incoming president being investigated by corrupt intelligence officials that nobody elected. That is not a functioning republic, democracy, country. It's just not a functioning system. We had a peaceful transition of power from the beginning of this country, from Washington all the way to President Obama. President Obama was Putin's preferred president because Putin did not like Bush. And so you can look up, there are Guardian articles that talk about, Putin says that, he's looking forward to the Obama administration. In fact, Madam Secretary, who's running again, and yes, she's running again, whether it's September, October, November, December, or January, because February is Iowa, she's running, okay? She has a lot of time. And there, it's just a time enough for who to grow a third eye or a fourth eye or whatever. Or have those burst also, heaven forbid. But, and I say that I hope he's okay, and I don't, he should just focus on health and happiness. Like, why? He doesn't even want to become president. But anyway, look, Congressman Devin Nunes, William Barr, John Durham are all looking at Fusion GPS. It is absurd that a company would be giving information, whether it's CrowdStrike with the DNC servers. The United States government never touched DNC servers. The thing is absurd. It doesn't make any sense. Only in 2019 or 2018 or 2017 or 2016 could this happen. You have the smartest people in the room who pride themselves on how hip and awesome and intelligent they are, when in reality, they were very sloppy and pretty overt in everything they were doing. But they had the media to fall back on. So you have millions upon millions of people who really don't know who Fusion GPS is. They don't know who Glenn Simpson is. They have no idea who Bruce Orr is. You have the average person doesn't know who Christopher Steele is. They don't know Christopher Steele in a deposition said that he was vehemently against Trump and wanted to do anything possible to stop Trump. Look, all you hear from an entire media machine and apparatus, MSNBC, CNN, The Washington Post, The New York Times, all you hear is Trump worked with Russia and Putin. They don't explain, well, to do what? To buy Facebook ads? Because Mueller said there was no information, there's no evidence on that. To hack the DNC, the United States government is not even certain it was even hacked. That's why when they indicted Russian intelligence officers, they used Company One. Read the indictments. When have we ever indicted foreign intelligence officials based on a company, a third-party company, outsourced by the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the Green Party or any party? Look, you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where there is a paradigm that is now defunct, now basically extinct. It's hit about 10 icebergs, and it's a paradigm called the 90s, liberal 90s era politics, where Democrats finally took control of government after a long hiatus out of power. It was Jimmy Carter, then 8 years of Reagan, then 4 years of George Herbert Walker Bush, and then Bill Clinton came in for 8 years and then saved the Democratic Party. Then it was 8 years of Bush, again, the worst president of all time, easily. And then it was President Obama for 8 years. So in the middle of basically what? About 20 years. 20 years of Republicans. You had 16 years of Democrats. Okay. But the Democratic Party is no longer in existence. There is no longer a Democratic Party. They face an existential crisis. Their most appealing and exciting policies are not feasible. And if you don't believe me, ask how many bills, grandiose bills, that President Trump has vetoed. Has he vetoed the Green New Deal legislation? No, because it was a resolution, because they're too cowardly and despicable and disingenuous to even dare make it, because the AFL-CIO is against it. I mean, it would harm indigenous communities, especially in the Congo and other places that mine cobalt, lithium, nickel. Electric car vehicle batteries need those metals to run properly. Electric car vehicles are not green, okay? Green New Deal legislation, they didn't vote on it, okay? It was a resolution. They're all about public relations. Why do you think there's no Medicare for All bill that was passed through the House? Why do you think there's no Abolish ICE bill? You have people who take this way too seriously on Twitter, and you have groups who take it way too seriously. Okay, and they're being played every single day by the Democratic Party, and they don't know and they don't realize that there is no Democratic Party. It's an extension of two people. The same two people who helped save the Democratic Party in the 90s, the same journalists who are now, kind of elder statesmen of journalism or whatever, they were in their 30s in the 90s or late 20s. To them, Bill Clinton is like, the best president they've ever seen in their lives, and then President Obama was even better. Their world revolves around a kind of older style Democratic Party that is marginally better on a lot of things marginally, I should say, more liberal, not better, but more liberal. There are a couple core principles that are vastly different from Republicans and between the parties. But then, climate change, well, under President Obama, largest expansion of oil and gas production in U.S. history, domestic. Immigration, he deported 3 million human beings without the horrendous, outcry and outrage from people who claim to care so much about these human beings. You're talking about a very disingenuous group of millions upon millions of people who think they're morally superior, yet when President Obama was in power, that was the antithesis. That administration was the antithesis of what they claimed, or what they stand for. Used the Espionage Act against whistleblowers and journalists more than any other president. His foreign policy failed NATO intervention, helped destroy Libya and other countries too. So, we can go on and on. But they face an existential crisis. They cheated Bernie Sanders, so they've already showed their true colors. They already showed their hand. Okay? They bluffed. They weren't serious about who they were as a political party. The Democratic Party, at its core, is tiny bit more liberal on most issues than the Republican Party. Except the Republican Party actually stands for and believes in a whole bunch of, I can go into it, but they actually believe in their principles. That's why you have President Trump, and he's actually following through with a lot of conservative principles. And Democrats are like, oh my God, even though Democrats alluded to these same things, whether it's a fence, a barrier, they're okay with that. But now it's Trump, and then, we can't have this, we can't have that. So Trump is serious. The Republicans are serious. And honestly, a lot of what they say, a lot of what Trump is doing makes sense. At least if you don't think it makes sense, it's not the hyperbole and the extreme language used to describe Trump. Okay? Democrats cheated Bernie Sanders. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign in disgrace. All they needed after that was Clinton to win. And they had a backup policy, which Peter Strzok talked about. Enter Fusion GPS. CrowdStrike. Alexander Downer, an Australian diplomat who just gives the FBI gossip and hearsay and they run with it regarding Papadopoulos. They're the ones who presided over a sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity, and they're the ones who pretend that they're the big cold warriors against. And all the while, they're going after the Democrats' first main goal is to go after other liberals or progressives and people on the left. And they put 90% of their energy is keeping everyone on that side in line. I know I used to be on that side. That's why the Daily Beast and other people, Raw Story, went after me and tried to write unethical hit pieces on me. Simply because my writing was effective and went viral, and my voice was out there. They didn't like my voice. They didn't want anyone saying that Madam Cyberhack was horrendous. Now people are petrified. She's going to run again. Why? I was saying and I was writing that she ain't going to win. And I was, my God, this horrible person. I was right. Now they're petrified. Well, enjoy it, because I sure am, and I can't wait. Do you think for 1 second, one millisecond, that William Barr and John Durham don't know how important Fusion GPS is? Don't know that they were outsourced by somebody who's going to run again for president? She funneled money, campaign money, which is a campaign finance violation, but whatever, through her law firm. Very likely money from Bernie supporters, which is, when he endorses her again, it'll just be magic. Be fantastic. But she funneled money through her law firm to pay for Fusion GPS. Okay? The United States government ran with this. This is obviously a whole bunch of people conspiring. This is 18 U.S. Code 371. I called that also in my Federalist article. It's in the description section of everything I write, of every segment. You have a whole bunch of people who defrauded the United States government and utilized protocol and bureaucracy to go up against, to oust a president. And their whole thing's, gosh, it was a very difficult time. We didn't know what was going on. I mean, how many people's votes were altered by the Russians? Give me a break. I wrote in 2015, and I stated in 2015 on this channel, when I wasn't even really working on this channel. I had 5,000 subs, something like that. Now I'm on, hopefully, look, when Clinton runs, hopefully I'll be on my way to 200,000 subs. And more, hopefully. I'm the only person saying what's going to happen. But forget about that. I stated, that's below in the pinned comment. I said Clinton is unelectable. And that is a segment you can see. It's right under my Patreon link. If you want to support my voice, my Patreon link is below in the pinned comment. This is a segment of the pinned comment. 2015, I said Clinton is unelectable. I was on the left. I was a hardcore Bernie supporter, the biggest Bernie booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Now everyone's like, Medicare for all. Yeah. They don't care about Medicare for all. My God almighty. They don't care about progressives or socialists or Green Party or all the. If you have a rose icon and you're like, I'm so hip and awesome, they don't care about you. The Democrats crush anyone on the left. They crush and they steamroll. And then they get the left, certain elements of the left, to just get everyone to fall in line and vote for Clinton 2020. Everything I've said about the left will be vindicated. Well, it already has been, but even more so. And they're going to be taken for the ride of their lives with Clinton 2020. Look, it ain't going to be the reptilian, the guy like V, I don't want to make fun of him. I feel bad for him. But when you turn into a reptile live on CNN, it's not good for your campaign. It's not good. So, then there's Warren, who failed her DNA test, and that's a no-no in this day and age, a big no-no. I mean, Trump will never let that go. Ever. Then there's Bernie, and look, take it from somebody who was who was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, okay? Democrats, they called neoliberals, they run the show. So the people who are like, oh yeah, we're the true people on the left. You're going to get crushed again. And you're going to get crushed by people who Max Boot and Bill Kristol and interventionists are voting for. And that's the problem. Not many progressives ever say, hey, why is Max Boot voting for Clinton in 2016 and 2020? That's not right. Well, isn't that... For me, that was the biggest issue. And it still is. That's the biggest reason I love Trump, and the biggest reason I used to love Bernie Sanders. And the biggest reason that I would never in a million years vote for Clinton. I want Americans home, back home, from counterinsurgency conflicts. But they don't care about that on the left. It's about tweets and it's about, oh my God, you said this. And if you said this, man, this is linked to another theory. And and you are Genghis Khan. That's it. End of story here. It's direct line to the worst people of all time. Direct line. It's like, what? I just voted for this person. What are you talking about? You are linked to this theory. You're an enabler. Then ipso facto, you are then the worst people of all time. And you can't say it because of the algorithm. But I could, what I'm talking about now, I can have a field day with. If I could speak, 100% freely. But anyway, this paradigm on the left exists to prop up the most passionate people on the left exist to prop up a paradigm that's already defunct, that's already obsolete. Now we just need Clinton to put the we need the golden moo to put the proverbial nails in the coffin. Clinton 2020, embrace it, love it. My God Almighty, let it happen soon. And then we get the two heavyweights, and then we get Trump 2020. There's nobody that can even come close to the money needed to even get close to Trump. Only Clinton can do that. Nobody else can. But Fusion GPS is probably, along with Andrew McCabe, who's getting indicted any day now. We're waiting. William Barr, we're waiting. It's a little something called the American people. Us peons are waiting for some kind of justice. Take your time. But the indictments are going to take place. Once that happens, the entire rotten edifice comes down. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Fusion GPS is being investigated. William Barr already has them in his sights. And there you go. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right this second.